We all like to think we are good at certain things, but the truth often reveals a different story. You're likely mistaken about how good or bad you are at many things. Often, the loudest voices, the best circulated ideas, and the boldest assertions are from people who know little or nothing about what they are talking about. In a revealing study, psychologists discovered a fascinating phenomenon. Those who perform poorly often overestimate their abilities, while those who excel tend to underestimate their skills. This intriguing discovery has far-reaching implications. A striking example of this phenomenon in action is the case of MacArthur Wheeler and Clifton Earl Johnson, which perfectly illustrates how a little knowledge can lead to misguided confidence and extreme consequences. In April 1995, in a baffling display of overconfidence, they robbed two banks in broad daylight, with their faces smeared in lemon juice, believing it would render them invisible to cameras, much like lemon juice can be used to create invisible ink on paper. Caught soon after being identified in the surveillance footage, Wheeler's shocked reaction, "But I wore the juice!" made headlines and grabbed everyone's attention. This reaction not only overshadowed his accomplice, but also turned Wheeler into the main character of this bizarre story, which some say may have even been the driving force behind the research in this cognitive bias phenomenon that we will further explore. But not just before we take a moment to briefly examine the opposite side of this self-perception: underestimation. This too, if taken to an extreme, can be problematic. Consider Maya Angelou, who, despite her significant literary achievements, confessed, "I have written 11 books, but each time I think, oh, they are going to find out now. I've run a game on everybody, and they are going to find me out." This exemplifies imposter syndrome, where individuals doubt their achievements. We'll delve deeper into this topic in a future video. Shifting gears from underestimation, let's circle back to the phenomenon that sits at the core of this video: the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is named after its researchers David Dunning and Justin Kruger. They first identified this psychological phenomenon in their 1999 study Unskilled and Unaware of It, in which individuals were tested on grammar, humor, and logic. The study revealed that participants with limited knowledge in these areas often lack the metacognitive skills necessary to recognize their own errors, leading them to overestimate their abilities.
How would you mark yourself out of 10 in terms of vocals?
10 out of 10.
Good.
And I will always love you.
As Dunning famously stated, if you're incompetent, you can't know you're incompetent. The skills you need to produce a right answer are exactly the same skills you need to recognize what a right answer is. On the other hand, those with more knowledge and experience understand the complexities and vastness of a subject. Aware of the challenges and their own limitations, they tend to underestimate their competence. This phenomenon has been shown in a wide variety of fields, from driving, where a significant majority of drivers believe they are better than average, to workplace performance, where many employees overrate their contributions and a large number believe they are top performers. And sadly, even among healthcare professionals and doctors, this cognitive bias is not uncommon.
You are HIV Aladdin?
I am killing it right now! Whoa, watch it.
The Dunning-Kruger effect can be quite unsettling. As you've seen, it suggests that often those least qualified are the most confident, while the knowledgeable may be filled with doubt. But it challenges us to consider our own blind spots and question our assumptions about our abilities. And understanding this cognitive bias is vital. It's not just about recognizing our ignorance, but about fostering an attitude of continuous learning and humility. It's about being aware that our perception of our own skills is often distorted and needs constant reassessment. To address our cognitive biases, seeking honest feedback is essential. Engaging with colleagues, friends, or trusted individuals offers valuable perspectives on our true capabilities.
Let's
prime. I should be swinging.
Swinging? What are you, out of your mind?
Before you rush with this fancy new term to sound informed or to dismiss others without even considering the individual's context, it's crucial to recognize that not everyone exemplifies the behaviors associated with the Dunning-Kruger effect. Using such terminology too quickly can oversimplify complex behaviors. Moreover, some researchers have highlighted flaws and raised questions about the Dunning-Kruger effect, specifically regarding autocorrelation, which suggests the effect might be partially due to the way data was analyzed rather than a true psychological pattern. Although this doesn't completely invalidate the effect, it just underscores the complexity and nuances in interpreting psychological research. As we reflect on the Dunning-Kruger effect and its critiques, it's important to remember that today's knowledge might be surpassed by tomorrow's discoveries. This journey of learning reminds us to remain open to new insights, continuously re-evaluating what we know. Every day brings the potential to deepen our understanding, encouraging us to approach knowledge with curiosity and humility.